What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Garage419. We got the big group discussion today, and we're all wearing our best funeral blacks for good reason. We've got Leo the Suit on the program, as usual, Mike Spinelli, and Wes Siler, road test editor of Jalopnik.com, as well as Hell for Leather magazine. Today, we are talking about bailouts, monies being transferred, and car companies falling into the toilet. I'm Matt Farah, and this is Garage419. All right, here we are, and we're in a situation right now. We're in a bad situation. Detroit Free Press has quoted the total bailout tab, bailout if you want to call it that, loan if you want to call it that, $97.4 billion.
Oh my God.
We're going to break it down. $25.4 billion for fuel-efficient cars, $25.5 billion for suppliers, $39 billion to keep GM and Chrysler alive. That boils down to $874 per American citizen. What are we going to do here? Where is this, a loan or a bailout, Leo?
This is a Band-Aid, because literally it feels like all we're doing is keeping these companies alive for the next 2 years. When you get into the plans, and I'm sure we will,
oh, we'll get into them.
There's not a lot there that gives me confidence that things are going to change. And it's all about the companies. It's not really about the workers.
Yeah. Wes?
The bailout's kind of like the Iraq War. We're going to spend a lot of money, and we're going to wreck some stuff. But ultimately, we're going to come out of it a lot worse than we went in.
Yeah, I'm nervous about that too. Spinelli?
It's kind of like, you know, like buying a grocery store so your kid will have a summer job. Like, I'm a little bit worried. We're headed down a path where the money could just keep multiplying.
The thing is if it's a loan, it's going to take a really long time to pay it back, and they don't really have a plan for that. They just have a plan for surviving until they ask for more.
So I'm not going to do all the numbers, and I read the things, and I throw out all the facts, but here's one factoid. When you cut into the GM program, there are $34.5 billion they need for their deal and their suppliers. But by 2014, we're only going to get back $8.8 billion.
This is another problem with Chrysler and the Cerberus thing. They're for some reason not obliged to tell us anything.
Right.
Yet why do they have a right to our money? If they don't have to do full disclosure, why do we have to give the money?
Well, I mean, they're piggybacking on the political aspect of providing resources to these companies to stay alive. I mean, we're talking about millions of people that are employed, and again, you know, the ripple effect and all that stuff of the suppliers and people serving the suppliers, and you get this gigantic ripple effect. So they've been able to benefit politically from being part of that
literally
whole
holding
scheme.
the country hostage by saying we employ all these people, and if we go down, the economy's just going to get worse. Therefore, you have to give us money.
How much is it per employee? So if we just gave the employees the $160,000,
Leo, what's the number?
$150,000 per employee for GM and Chrysler.
GM and Chrysler, have 600,000 employees, right?
Pretty much.
So you divide $97 billion by that, and you're talking $160,000 per employee.
But would they pay taxes on that? Was that
Chrysler's argument is that we need to give them money to keep Americans employed. Wouldn't we be better off just giving the employees the money?
Well, you just touched on the other problem. I mean, the industry has told us bigger is better. They sold us all these big SUVs. This money is to go to make these companies smaller. This money is to go to have people lose their jobs and go away.
The irony there is in paying to downsize.
But that's right.
Moving on. Next topic. We had to get here somehow. Obviously, there's a global recession, and all car makers are doing bad, with the exception of like Hyundai and Subaru and Audi. Maybe.
I got to do my comment. This is like A-Rod writing these business reports, okay? There is no guilt, no accountability. My cousin did it, and I promise not to do it again. There's nothing in here that takes any responsibility for how we got here over the last 25 years, except it's the freaking economy since 2008.
Both companies are putting this victim argument on the table and saying, well, it's the recession and people don't have credit. What about the fact that they have been building what I would refer to as substandard cars for the past 20 years?
Well, I mean, basically we have truck companies that also build cars. I mean, because Americans buy a lot of trucks, and so they build really good trucks. The problem is they missed a couple of very key pivot points in the economy.
You know, mid-size sedan.
Well, first of all, the mid-size sedan they wrote off, but the big thing, I think, is that they missed the boom in luxury buyers, right? So the leasing boom made everybody a luxury buyer.
Yeah.
So they absolutely had nothing for the luxury buyer. They had Cadillac, which was sort of a half-hearted attempt.
Even down to the Lexus 300, they had nothing.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
The
So
Lexus
that was
300.
Well, that
the Lexus.
As inspirational as a
Camry
product as that is.
Oh, the Lexus ES300.
ES300.
I thought you were talking about the Chrysler 300. Ass
no,
backwards there. Sorry.
Right.
No,
Okay.
Okay, whatever.
Well,
Oh,
I mean,
that's cool.
so-
Here, wait. One thing is it that American car companies build cars that look good on paper, but not when you're sitting in and driving them, whereas the other car companies may not have all those features to look good on paper, but the feel of the car is better, and that's what sells a car now.
Well, the foreign car companies have both things. They have all the features and they actually drive good. So it's like the American car companies just don't build cars that are fun to drive. Don't build cars that are in any way appealing or
I would argue differently.
sexy.
The whole
or,
range of Corvettes, some of the new Cadillacs that are out
niche
there.
niche products.
Yeah, well, the
Corvettes are
enthusiast
great.
product
The
has
new
always been
Cadillacs
there.
are great, but they don't make millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Two things. One, you made the comment that GM could build a good car if they want. Somehow they
I think
don't.
they know how and they choose not to.
If you look at GM's
Well, that's
enthusiast
a-
products that came out last year, they were the best enthusiast products ever made. The Corvette ZR1, the Cadillac CTS-V, and the GXP.
Even
never been better.
The Cobalt SS, which
Even
is
the
a
Cobalt
tin
SS
can
is
on
great.
wheels, is
Yeah.
a blast to drive.
Yeah.
Somehow,
Dunsky. This is what happens when you have buzzers. You have to listen to them.
Right.
They both submitted their plans for viability. GM and Chrysler. Ford, not wanting our money now, is exempt from that. We have read or at least skimmed these plans, and they're both telling in their own ways about the company. Leo, tell me about GM, since you know a ton about GM. What does their plan look like in terms of survival?
the most telling thing that caught my attention is right now their cash position is $12.7 billion.
Okay.
They take all our money.
Uh-huh.
They go to 2014. Their cash position is 12 point something billion dollars. It never changes.
So
if the cash position is desperate now,
Yeah.
and the cash position is the same at the 2014.
What is going to change in the company between now and 2014 other than it's downsizing? So we're giving them money to downsize to end up in the same place they are now.
And the cash balance, the TARP balance
Yeah.
gets reduced by 8.8 billion. And if you kind of track the TARP balance through the cash balance, we're the cash. So
Right.
if we need the money now,
Yeah.
in 2014, should I be expecting the phone call from Mr. Wagner?
Yeah, seriously.
Well, I mean, I think the problem also is they may be overestimating where the car market is going to be in those years.
Yeah.
I mean, are we going to sell 12 or 14
That's
million
the
cars
problem.
anymore?
A lot of these are based on that assumption
Yeah.
of the future
I think-
sales thing. It's dismal.
We're picking
Exactly.
on GM, and I apologize, but they said they did a conservative estimate, but their sales projection from 2009 to 2014 takes them up to a 16.8 million business. They project the business coming back. Chrysler actually was more conservative. They predict the business only come back to 13.
Coming back, when we return from this little break here, we're going to talk about the potential for future products, how they may save or destroy the companies, and our predictions for how this is all going to end. Stick around. How many miles you got on this bad boy?
About 5,000.
Yeah?
With like a 35.
Oh, cool. So it does get driven.
Yeah, we like to drive.
That's key. Garage419.com. Be there. GM and Chrysler are car companies. We know this. They need to, in order to pay back these loans, they have to build and then sell a ton of cars. So we obviously need a plan for future products. Spinelli, let's start with you. How are these future products looking? Let's start with the GM side.
Well, I mean, I think that if you look at the plans, I mean, they really brought out what was going to, attract attention. Obviously, the Volt is not going to sort of save GM.
I hate to say it's a niche product.
It's not a volume
niche product.
Exactly. And who's to say they're going to even make any money on it in the beginning, too?
Yeah.
Because, Toyota didn't make any money on the Prius until a couple of
Right.
years in.
So we've got Camaro.
So we've got
We've
Camaro.
got the Cadillac CTS Coupe. Those are the two future products.
Well,
from
I
GM.
think that,
the Chevy Cruze.
the Chevy, I was,
Small economical cars.
Wes and I
which they
are in
delayed.
agreement.
Which they delayed.
Right.
It's already on sale in the rest of the world. It's not like they can't make it right now.
Yeah, but
There's
I mean,
technology there.
But
I
that's
don't
a
know the
volume
answer.
car. I mean, they're going to make money on volume cars that they can make money on. The problem
Yeah.
is that it's in the past, nobody's been able to make really good money on volume cars.
With Chrysler, we've got all they're showing us in terms of future product is the new Grand Cherokee, the new 300, and then what we got the EV
And it should be
extended range
those are
platforms.
totally fictional platforms.
They're fictional platforms, and it's just a redesign of what they've got right now. Where's the new product?
Technology does not currently exist to put the electric powertrain they say is in them.
Yeah.
So
I wonder what the assignment was, because both reports talk a lot about how they're going to improve fuel economy, how they're going to have more hybrids.
Yeah.
But no one talks about, is the car going to be fun or cool that all this technology and the economy is plugged in, or appealing?
Well, and speaking of
And that's
fun
the
and cool and
concern.
appealing, GM is now canceling its high performance vehicles program, so future development of those cars is indefinitely
which was
zero.
the one bright spark in the company.
Yeah,
they were making these
seriously.
awesome cars.
What all that proves is that this is, to them, a much more of a political exercise than it is a real. I mean, there's this gigantic political element to these plans that don't really have anything to do with making money.
I feel like it's the most American of ways, which is to say, let me do the least that I can do to try and get away with something.
Well, the worst part to me is that it feels like these are not car people. This was an accounting process, a political process. I mean, I've got a joke that says, I like a car until I meet the people that run the company.
Yeah.
Thank God I don't know people at Audi. And it feels like these are people that are doing toasters in accounting, not cars.
I mean, the car industry is so complex anyway. I mean, you have union contracts, you've got regulations, you've got these like
parts suppliers and
like,
transportation people.
So this is natural. I mean, naturally, to even make something that the Congress is going to be able to understand, it has taken
But I think
these incredible
and I agree
steps.
with you, but I think we're looking at it two ways. We're looking at the report to get the money, and then we're basically saying, but are they doing things? Are they changing the process to exist better?
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, I feel like the parent that realizes, oh my God, my kid's a B- student.
Yeah.
they're where they are now because they didn't have good product that anybody wanted to buy. And now they're not going to make any good product anybody wants to buy. They expect somehow the things to change. That's like the definition of insanity. Do the same thing and expect different results.
They're both just really asking for this money to just hold on, and they're downsizing, not innovating. They're not saying we're going to take this money and build the next big thing. They're saying we're going to sell off this to slow the burn rate, but then we're just kind of going to hope things get better.
And my two Carboy sound bites from each one. GM is forecasting a decline in market share in the U.S. and in Europe, small, but a decline, not growth. And Chrysler's going to do it by stuffing the dealers with 85-day supply of cars.
Well, that's the other thing is that
God.
they count, you can count Chrysler selling cars, and then you can count the dealers selling cars, and people don't understand that it's not the same thing. If they can basically force the dealers to buy cars from the company, yeah, Chrysler's selling cars, but the dealer is now sitting on a 200-day supply of cars.
Mr. Press made a big appeal to the dealers to buy cars to save the company.
It wasn't an appeal, it was a demand.
And it was a dirty secret. There was $2,000 incentive attached to it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's that. Here's the real question is, what do we think, how is this going to end? Is it going to end well? Is it going to end badly? Wes, you first. What do we got?
It's not going to end well. What we have right now is like step one, give us a lot of money. Step two, question mark. Step three, survival.
Yeah.
It's that question mark. They don't know what they're doing. They have no plans for what they're going to do. And I say screw them.
A lot of people, share that. There was a survey on that I read in the news that 45% of people are opposed to government bailouts in general.
They had 30 years since the OPEC oil crisis to turn themselves around.
Yeah.
They didn't do it. They're not going to do it with the bailout money. Just spend the money elsewhere. It's better spent on something else.
Yeah. Mike?
Chrysler, I just don't see a way out for Chrysler. Chrysler's still reeling from a brain drain from 10 years ago when Daimler came in and Schremp and his boys kind of alienated everybody.
Unlike
and
GM, Chrysler really has nothing anyone wants to buy.
And that's the problem. I mean, there's nothing there. There's nothing in the pipeline. All they have going for them is this kind of secrecy that comes from being part of Cerberus. And I don't know. But as far as GM goes, I mean, I think GM actually could survive this. And it'll take a lot of downs. I mean, the downsizing has to happen, but they have very good engineers. They have they have all these guys locked inside the company. They can build a car,
and they don't try very often.
Yeah,
I mean,
the problem.
they have lots of innovations, and they still sell a lot of cars.
Yeah.
They just need to unlock all of that from the company, bring it out, downsize so they're small enough and lean enough to make it. I think GM can do it.
Leo, here's the question. Leo gets his own question on this one. Is all of this bailout money, restructuring, downsizing, is it going to result in better American cars? Are American cars going to become worldwide competitive products?
in its current format of the proposal, who wrote the solution and what the government's doing, the answer is
No.
No.
I think no. I unfortunately, the way things have gone in this country, I think no also.
This is money to keep the status quo going, and this is an accounting and a report to say we'll change, but there's no change.
Yeah.
Maybe better MPG.
You know, I really think that this whole process, if it's going to teach us, the auto industry and everyone something, it's that we need an entirely new level of thinking here if we're going to make all this work. And I hope it does because, you know, from time to time they come up with some good stuff.
I think that's what I wish there was. I wish there was a national energy policy. I wish there was a Manhattan Project, really motivation to drive these companies to do the right things,
Yeah.
whether it's Fiat or whatever. Ferrari and Avenger in the same company,
Yeah, that's
we
sort of-
cannot have that.
I know, that would be a problem. Well, there you have it. Leo, Mike, and Wes, thank you so much for being on the show today. We're not going to wear black next time. We're going to talk about happy things. And we want to know what you guys think. Is this going to result in a better American car? And if so, what is your version of a better American car? What do you want the better American car to look like? Leave a comment, hit us up at Garage419.com, and please, if you like Garage419, hit that little subscribe button so you can make sure not to miss out on any of our content. I'm Matt Farah, and we will see you guys next week. Next time on Garage419, we're going to talk about this car right here, the Dino 206 Berlinetta Competizione, one-of-one prototype for the Ferrari Dino, owned by the one and only Mr. Jim Glickenhaus, who's going to tell us all about it, as well as why he updated it and converted it so he could drive it on the street.